Well, I'll look for you in psych.
Yeah, maybe we can help each other figure out what the hell they're talking about.
Okay.
Maybe even make it through the year.
Good night.
Good night.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer has become a cult classic, and its impact can still be felt in popular culture today. While the show is best known for launching the career of its lead actor, Sarah Michelle Gellar, it has also featured a number of talented actors in supporting roles. One was Pedro Pascal, who played the character of Eddie in the Season 4 premiere, The Freshman. Here we're taking a closer look at Pascal's role in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and we're exploring his career both before and after his brief stint on the show. Pedro Pascal joins the Buffy the Vampire Slayer cast for one episode, The Freshman. The Freshman marks the beginning of Season 4 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and is the 57th episode in the series. Joss Whedon both wrote and directed the season premiere, which first aired on the 5th of October 1999 on the WB network. The exterior scenes depicting UC Sunnydale were shot on the UCLA campus. During its initial broadcast, The Freshman garnered an impressive audience of 4.4 million households. The Freshman is the same episode where we meet Riley Finn, Buffy's boyfriend after Angel, for the first time. The pair meet with Willow in the UC Sunnydale library. Pedro Pascal plays Eddie, or Edward, in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one of the first freshmen Buffy meets at UC Sunnydale. He was credited in the role as Pedro Balmasada, as his full name is Jose Pedro Balmasada Pascal. On his first night at college, Eddie was searching for Dunworth Hall and his dorm room, and he meets Buffy on the way. Both of them were lost, so they team up to follow the map and find his dorm together. After successfully finding it, they parted ways, but were excited about seeing each other again as they hadn't made any friends yet. They promised to help each other get through the year.
Well, I'm lost and I have a map, so...
Oh, I come in second.
As Buffy left, Eddie was ambushed by Sunday, a vampire, and her gang of followers. They looted almost all of Eddie's belongings from his dorm room and left a note implying that he'd left early due to the pressures of college. In reality, Eddie had been turned into a vampire and his body was left lying on the floor of their lair until he woke up. After realizing that Eddie was missing from their psych class, which they had discussed the night before, Buffy began to investigate his disappearance. She searched his vacant dorm room and discovered his copy of the novel of Human Bondage left behind. This led her to the conclusion that Eddie had been kidnapped, as he had confided in her that night before that the book was a source of comfort for him in stressful situations, and he wouldn't have forgotten it if he had really gone home early.
I still feel like carrying around a security blanket.
Of Human Bondage. Have you ever read it?
Oh, I'm not really into porn. I mean, I'm trying to cut way back.
No, there's no actual bondage, it's just a novel.
That evening, Buffy came across Eddie on the campus grounds, but her relief was short-lived when she realised that he had turned into a vampire. Despite the shock, she told him that he was sorry for what had happened to him, and Eddie responded, "I'm not," and he proceeded to attack her, but Buffy staked him and reduced him to dust.
God, I was worried that something had happened to you, and of course it has because you're a vampire.
Eddie had one deleted line in Buffy the Vampire Slayer when he first met Buffy looking for his dorm. It was, "Eddie. Edward, I mean Edward, but I aspire to be Eddie." Just a quick interruption to say thank you so much for clicking on a January Media video. If you haven't heard of us before, then take a few seconds to open a new tab, type in januarymedia.co.uk, and we've got a whole host of other videos, articles and podcasts all about TV and film. So if you want to find out more facts, have a go at some of our quizzes, and browse our entertainment-themed shop, then make sure you visit januarymedia.co.uk after you watch this video. UC Sunnydale welcomes Buffy and Willow, but Buffy finds it difficult to adjust. She has a discouraging encounter with a fellow student, Riley Finn, a tough time living with her new roommate, Kathy, and gets thrown out of a class by a professor. That night, Buffy befriends freshman Eddie, but unfortunately he falls prey to a group of vampires led by Sunday. The next day, when Eddie doesn't show up for class, Buffy seeks advice from Giles, who encourages her to handle the situation independently as she is now in college. The subsequent night, Buffy encounters Eddie again, but now as a vampire. She is left with no choice but to kill him. Sunday's gang of vampires then attack and overpower Buffy, causing her to flee to her mother's house and later to the club The Bronze. There she is surprised to see someone who resembles her former love interest Angel. Xander cheers Buffy up, and together with Oz and Willow, they track down the vampires.
Oh, that's my skirt. You're never gonna fit in it with those hips. We have to kill them.
Buffy and her friends find themselves in the vampire's hideout where Sunday once again dominates Buffy in a fight. However, when Sunday smashes Buffy's Class Protector trophy, Buffy becomes enraged, and she defeats Sunday in front of Xander, Oz, and Willow.
Hey, Buff. Need a hand?
No thanks. I'm good.
While walking outside, Buffy encounters Eddie, a fellow freshman who is just as overwhelmed by their new environment as she is.
We have a security blanket. Unless, of course, you count Mr. Pointy.
Mr. Pointy?
Oh, bike path.
They discuss needing a security blanket in such an unfamiliar place. Eddie confides that he finds comfort in reading his favourite novel, Of Human Bondage, which he keeps by his bedside and has read 10 times. Buffy, on the other hand, relies on her trusty stake, Mr. Pointy. As they part ways, Eddie runs into a group of vampires led by Sunday, and he's kidnapped. They break into Eddie's dorm room and ransack his belongings, leaving a note on his bed claiming that he had dropped out of college due to the pressure. The following day, Buffy attends her psychology class in the hopes of finding Eddie, but he is nowhere to be seen. She decides to investigate and heads to his dorm room, only to find it empty with a note left behind. The dorm assistant explains that some students are unable to handle the pressures of college life and often drop out very quickly. However, Buffy notices that Eddie's favourite book is still on the nightstand. She realises that something is amiss, as Eddie would never leave without it. Meanwhile, in Sunday's lair, the group of vampires sift through Eddie's belongings. Sunday complains that they should go after more cool people next time. Eddie is seen lying motionless on the floor, having been bitten by the group. Suddenly his eyes snap open and he has been turned into a vampire too. The Chilean-American actor Pedro Pascal began his acting career in the late 1990s with small roles in various TV shows and films. As well as his role of Eddie in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, some of Pedro Pascal's early acting roles include Greg in Undressed on MTV, NYPD Blue he is Dio, Reggie Luckman in Law & Order Criminal Intent, and Nathan Landry in The Good Wife. Pascal gained wider recognition for his roles as Oberyn Martell in the 4th season in the popular HBO series Game of Thrones, and as Javier Peña in the series Narcos. In addition to his TV work, Pascal has also appeared in films such as Kingsman, The Golden Circle, The Equalizer 2, and We Can Be Heroes.
How would you like to ride home on a real cowboy? I got a 6-pack of cold ones all night, so my roomie's out all night, so you can scream my name as loud as you need to, sugar.
More recently, Pedro Pascal starred in the title role of The Mandalorian, the hit Disney Plus series set in the Star Wars universe. He also played a leading role in the film The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, opposite Nicolas Cage. In 2023, Pedro Pascal's fame has reached new heights after appearing in the adaptation of the video game The Last of Us, also on HBO, with Bella Ramsey.
You flying one of those?
A few times, sure.
So lucky.
Didn't feel like it at the time. Get shoved into the middle seat, pay $12 for a sandwich.
Dude, you got to go up in the sky.
Yeah, well, so did they.
Pedro Pascal's portrayal of Eddie in Buffy the Vampire Slayer may have only been brief, but it has had a resurgence due to his success in The Last of Us. Eddie's story served as a catalyst for Buffy's character development at UC Sunnydale by leading to the discovery of the Initiative and showcased the series' ability to handle dark and mature themes. Eddie the Freshman will always be a memorable part of the show's legacy, and Pedro Pascal's early role in the series is a stepping stone towards his future success.
I'll follow you anywhere you go. But there's no halfway with this. We finish what we started.